You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward.
That's not how we put on all that size. Your heroes pulled the ladders up behind them.
I went to Vince and told him that Jesse was trying to start a union. I did that.
I purposely don't
biggest event in the history of our company.
Set certain shit up easy for them so that they're able to build character and understand what it means to really grind, bro.
You know, I mean, I was making crazy money.
Oh, story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
Hello, and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 276. It is the first day of the week, aka the Kamehameha workout. I am feeling pretty good. Pretty good still. I am very sore from my last episode still, and it's been 3 days since then. So, yeah, it's been a little bit. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, ladder pullers. Yes. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it has been something that has been on the, I guess, the greater unconscious of the world, and or I keep seeing signs of it in everything that I see. People who are ladder pullers, and or if you don't know what that is, it's basically somebody who becomes successful and then immediately pulls the ladder up from, is somebody who becomes successful and then pulls the ladder from underneath them, so then that way nobody can use what they did in order to get as successful as they did. So there are multiple ways that this can happen, and how people do it, and all these other things that go on, really. I'm going to probably go into examples, the idea of it, the type of people who do it, and a few other things like that in detail in the voiceover. But for now, I'll say this. It is a phenomena that has been happening always. I feel like as success is a coveted thing, no matter where you're at. The ladder puller is somebody that you will have to deal with eventually, because they are people that always exist and never want to really let go of the success. Understandably so, but we'll talk about ways that you might want to, how you can avoid doing that, because realistically, if you are a person that does ladder pulling, you're terrible. But we'll talk about that too as well. But generally speaking, the term ladder puller is something can be applied to multiple things. Like, so for example, it could be, I've heard it in the fitness realm, I've heard it in the stand-up comedy realm, I've heard it in the acting realm, I've heard it in multiple realms such as that. So it all just depends where you're at. If there's any way where you can be, quote, successful, there is somebody that will try to, quote, ladder pull from there. They just will happen. That is something that is unavoidable, unfortunately. Well, with that being said, we'll talk more about that and a few other things when we get to Mother Base. All right, so started this day off with dips, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Ladder pullers. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this was because this was a different subject matter in my mind than something like a gatekeeper, because gatekeepers can be very, very helpful and useful depending on what they are. Ladder pullers are a little different. I feel like this is more of a monetary perspective type of deal. So if you are somebody who gets money from whatever you're making, let's say wrestler, artiste, filmmaker, YouTuber, whatever, influencer, all of these things are things that people can use in order to get money. The reason why I dislike people who are ladder pullers, aka they become successful and then decide to take the ladder that they used to get there with them. Thus, you can see a lot of this happens in every single type of art and fashion. I mean, you could look at early YouTube, let's say 2010 to 2015 YouTube, completely different landscape of what can get you popular as to what is now popular. Early things like on TikTok, early things on Instagram, early things on other social medias. Wrestling is a huge one as well back in the day. Another one is the movies, the arts, independent stuff, anything that you can actually make money off of. The people that came in originally first, it's not always for everybody who comes in first, because there are certain pathways that are followed by people that can be followed successfully continuing on. But this video is more about the people who get in front of the pack and then decide to make it harder for others trying to use what the tactics they did in order for them to try to get up in success. And it sucks because most of these people are just
usually doing this for either greed purposes or they're just terrible people. Most of the time, you can tell who they are because they don't want to see other people actually succeed that are around them or help them out, really. They are a very selfish breed of person. They are relatively known to be calling themselves out a lot of the time because they understand that they are popular, so people want to know their secrets, but they never really want to tell them the exact formula and or things that they've used because they'd rather keep that to themselves. And obviously this can be terrible in a lot of different fashions and or shapes, and or maybe they have exploited certain things on certain platforms that are no longer being able to exploit because of their actions, if that makes any sense, which is a terrible thing. These are all over the place. This isn't necessarily just one type of person, but I've seen this over and over again where people will make sure that others do not have the chance to succeed. It's a disgusting thing. I think most people can agree that it is not good in that sense that you have to find your own path. In that sense, it's fine in a way, but it's more of a not allowing the established path that you took to others, so then that way they might have a chance using that way. Not every time might it be useful or even able to use for other people, but at least it gives them a chance. Pulling the ladder behind you basically means that you are saying fuck you to anybody else that might possibly be in the same trajectory. No further example more than Peter Dinklage, which, sure, the Snow White movie was a giant piece of shit. That doesn't matter. At least 20 to 30 dwarves ended up not getting any movie film acting roles or gigs, and they would have been paid from that. Sure, the movie would have still bombed, but at least they would have gotten paid and gotten some, acting out there, some footage, right? So it doesn't even matter. Peter Dinklage fucked that up for them, and it's less representation for them in anything. It's literally just saying, haha, fuck you, I'm the only dwarf in Hollywood that matters now, bitch. And it's such a disgusting thing, and you can see that other people that are dwarves don't like that shit because, of course, they were like, hey, you just fucked us over. And those are the types of people you need to call out because they are holding the cards, and once they are holding the cards, they kick that ladder out from underneath them, and that just truly shows that they probably don't deserve the limelight or the spotlight that they got to. So fuck them.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped. We have one, actually. It's the rice bucket training. Not because I didn't want to, but the time got to me. I had a trouble with my dumbbell, which I have to go do a couple emails about. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand here. Ladder pullers. Now, I am not one to be... It is not in my personality type to be against those succeeding around me. I would like to see those who are in the same field succeed because I feel like we are too negative and or greedy with the amount of things that we want to accomplish. There's enough to go around, especially if you work hard and try your hardest to make sure that you get your own. Closed mouths don't get fed, obviously, but also you have to work to make sure that your mouth stays open and you actually ask for some. I think that those who pioneer and then decide that, say, hey, fuck everybody else, I'm the only one, there's a special place in hell for these types of people. There is a specific type of pain that they will probably, hopefully, never know, but they might know. And whoever they are, they know who they are because there's a specific phenotype that they all embody. It's a specific type of person that is truly in their own hell because they cannot escape or understand that life is better when you have others around you that can support you for real and want you to see you succeed. It is a thing where you hope to God that none of these people are around you. You hope to God that these people are smited and shunned and shamed away as they should be. And I think that that is something that I wanted to just really discuss and drive home, and that is that most of these people should be called out, shamed, and abandoned for what they are doing to others. It is quite literally disgusting to do something like this. The idea that I succeeded and then you shouldn't do what I did, or I succeeded and I'm the only one who could do it, or I succeeded and now I'm not going to let anybody use the tools that I used, is
quite literally devil-like behavior that should not be tolerated by anybody. And if you find yourself on the other side that has, let's say, you are helping them hold others down, you should be ashamed of yourself as well and stop that, because that is not something to be proud of, or the money is never worth it. How many times do you see the people that are like, oh yeah, it was totally worth doing this. It was totally worth shunning this person. It always eats at them. And then it isn't until later in life they realize they fucked up because they probably made somebody's life a living hell. But then some people never get their just desserts, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But I really don't have any respect for people like this, and I hope that more people like this get called out for what they truly are, and that is terrible people that don't deserve any of the things that they get and should be shunned and discarded as the human filth that they are. I think the most reason why I dislike it is because you see it all the time, realistically. There's so many people that do things that end up just backfiring on them, or, they're trying to hold others down because they don't want anybody else to be successful as them, which is stupid, just quite frankly stupid. I will never understand that personally. I guess my personality is that I would love to see others succeed. Even if I don't, I want to see others excel in what things I may not know, because at least then you know that there's somebody else out there doing it. You know what I mean? It's living the life. I'm not a bitter person. I think bitterness is stupid. But that's a whole other subject for a whole other day. And with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If you have any stories about people who who became ladder pullers, please let me know in the comment section down below. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.